What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast 2023. We are going into our third year as a podcast. It's crazy. The time has just flown by. I hope you guys had an incredible holiday season. Happy New Year's to you. And today we are getting started on our coverage for Survivor Australia Heroes versus Villains. This has been one of the most anticipated Survivor Australia seasons in a long time. The cast, whether it's the newcomers, whether it's the players returning, it looks like an amazing cast. And the preview so far that they've been posting looks like it's going to be a super entertaining physical. We all know Survivor Australia, physical season. So I can't do this by myself. You guys wouldn't stay on if it was just me yapping this entire hour and a half. So I got to introduce the two amazing people I have with me. First off, he's back. I don't know what I did right to get him back, but Abraham is back for another season. Abraham, how are you doing, man?
You know what? Great start to the year. No complaints. We'll get to kick it off with Survivor again. And you know what the beauty of this season is? I got to actually meet some of the contestants. So it's going to be great to watch them play, see how they play, see their personal personalities related back to their actual play and their gameplay. So I'm excited to be back. You know, anything Survivor is great. And we don't get to have a break. We don't have to wait until March, until U.S. Survivor kicks off. We're going to jump right into Australia, which was great last season. So if you're not tuning in, tune in this season. We got some great players out there, 24 players, heroes versus villain. This is going to be a wild ride.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun. And let me just say, take Abraham's predictions today with a grain of salt, because the dude was bunkmates with King George in Orlando. So he might have some insider information. This is not fair. It's already starting off not fair. But anyways, we also have a new analyst who's joining the show, and we have been so excited to have her join us. We are joined by the ever so wonderful Tegwyth. Welcome to Survivor Now podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to talk about this season. I love Australian Survivor, as pretty much everybody does. So I'm just super excited to talk about the season with you guys.
So go ahead and tell us what got you. We always love to ask new people who come onto the show, whether that is through an interview with a Survivor castaway or a new addition. Like Josh joined us last year and we found out what got him into Survivor. So what got you into the game of Survivor? Because I know you are a super fan through and through.
I really much am. I mean, I spend pretty much every single day thinking about Survivor, and it's crazy because it's not something that I really thought about up until 2018. I met my boyfriend in 2018, and I was watching The Bachelor at the time, very casually, like not super crazy. And he was like, okay, so, I watched this show, you should watch it. And I was like, oh, really? That's still on? That's crazy. And I remember my science teacher from like high school watched it. We all made fun of him, and he would give us like extra credit for if we could guess the winner of Survivor. We would get like an A in our GPA if we could just accurately guess, seriously, every single season. And it was like a very big deal for him. And so Ryan, my boyfriend, had me starting watch Survivor China, and I was like hooked after that, and haven't looked back since.
True or false? You dressed up as Jeff Probst one Halloween.
True. That is
yes.
true. I absolutely
I had
did.
to do my research when we were getting you on the show, and I saw that video, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is incredible.
I was. And then we got Ryan a giant dinosaur suit, and we called him the Edge of Extinction.
The Edge of Extinction.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh. I would love to have a Survivor party with you. I know you go all out for him. You have
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming on, and we're so excited to cover Survivor Australia this season with you, and look forward to working, past this season. So super excited to have you on and your intel when it comes to the show of Survivor. So guys, we have to get right into this because we have 24 castaways to cover, 11 returnees, 13 new contestants. A lot of people have asked, why is it uneven? I won't name her name, but someone was a last minute dropout. And that's why they had to get a last minute new replacement, which honestly, I don't know who it was, who the last minute new replacement was, but that's why it's uneven. A lot of people are like, oh, why are they doing this? That is the reason why. They were their hand was forced. They are not filming in Australia this season. So the season was airing in Samoa, which I'm super excited about because everyone loves Samoa. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it'll be nice to get a break from Fiji. We're always in Fiji. So
no, I will not agree with that, Randy. I will never agree with that. If they send me back to Fiji, I am outstanding with it. I don't care. But you're right. Samoa is great. Some of the contestants have already said that they love going to be by the water. They're actual people that enjoy surfing or being something related to the water. So it's going to be interesting if their pre-bio about loving water is going to play into their abilities to play the game. That's going to be pretty interesting.
Tegwyth, Samoa. I mean, this season's going to be amazing. What are we expecting this year going into based off the previews we've seen and just the location they're at?
I mean, what aren't we expecting? I think is kind of what I'm thinking. Is I just feel like this is going to be a season of kind of epic proportions. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, the first couple of seasons of this Australian Survivor was in Samoa, right? And so I feel like we, there are some returning players who, for example, Sam, I'm pretty sure played in Samoa, and so I could be wrong though. So I don't know. I think it'll just be interesting to go kind of back to, I feel like it's almost a classic Survivor location. And I'm super excited to see how the different location impacts the players. I mean, obviously, the returnees are going to have to deal with a little bit of a different terrain. And I think it'll be great.
Would you rather play? I know Abraham's answer. Would you rather play in Fiji or Samoa?
Oh man. I think I would probably say Fiji.
Okay.
But
talking about.
But I don't know. What would you do?
Let me see.
I go Samoa. I'm so Fiji out.
Randy will go anywhere.
I'll do a Survivor in Alaska if I have to.
That's true. I would too.
Well, let me tell you something. It's going to be, it's so beautiful and peaceful. You will really, the backdrop of Survivor is so surreal. You'll be like, man, this is great. You're not going to care where you're at.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I'll be caught up in the moment, but this is how this is going to work this year, guys. We basically, Abraham does this every year. You're not going to be able to see it if you're watching on YouTube because it's screened out, but we basically have some paper and we are keeping track of whether we think these castaways are going to make merge, pre-merge, where they're going to finish. And then we're going to try to keep track of that more this year. So Tegwyth, if you didn't pick where they're going to finish, this is how we were doing it for the longest time. I went above and beyond this year, apparently. But you can just say, if you don't know exactly, say merge or pre-merge. And then if you have a feeling, you could say like final 8 or something like that. We're going to try to keep more track of it this year and see who is the biggest expert. Abraham, you have something to add?
It looks like the age range for this Survivor is going to be from 25 to 62.
Wow, Gary. Yeah, Gary Gelch. He's got to be the oldest one, right?
I do believe so. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how you got that many just dynamics. And on top of that, the returnee players and the new players that have had a chance just to watch those players and watch all the other types of Survivor in preparation to go out there and play. But I think the breakdown of who's hero and who's villain is pretty interesting, considering like I met a couple of these players and I'm like, well, I don't really know if you're a villain. So,
well, villain on the island, to say.
That's something I found interesting because I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that it was the returnees were placed based on how they played the game, right? Like that's how we, as American Survivor fans, you have the classic heroes versus villains. It was because of how they played. But then I saw that the people are how they view, like the non-returnees are how they view themselves. And so I thought that was super interesting because, I mean, obviously you take that with a grain of salt, like, production goes into it a little bit, but I just find that so interesting to me that obviously we don't know how their gameplay is, but some of these villains might have like heroic gameplay because you're not you're different on the island. And I just find that very interesting that it's like just how they view themselves, or, I mean, also how production views them. But I thought that was a very interesting thing that I read.
The dynamic's going to be really insane this season. I mean, you guys just summed it up nicely, having returning players and new players, a mix of heroes, villains. Do they actually fit that stereotype that they've put out there for them, or are they going to play a whole different game? We're going to start with the villains. And we're going to start with one of the most popular Survivor Australian castaways of all time. She's played twice, Champions versus Contenders in 2018 and All-Stars. She's 30 years old now. Shonee Botel, if I said her last name correct. And Tegwyth, I got to start with you first. Shonee is a character, and I think she, out of all the villains, she fits that villain stereotype, and I can't wait to watch her this year.
Oh yeah, I am so excited. The fact that she's also the first time that this is the first person to play, third time back in Australian Survivor, that speaks volumes. And I'm super, super excited to how this is going to go, with, again, like that dynamic of the returnees and the not returnees, and seeing how this, such a big character is going to handle this season. I'm super excited to see it. And I think she's going to do great.
I think Shonee going in, she's going to have, they're already going to look for her and look to see how she plays. Going in, I think, looking at her video and looking at her, how she presents herself, she's going to go in as a villain and she's going to remain a villain. But now that doesn't say how is she going to play the game of Survivor, because now you're back in Samoa. You got to play with a group of people that played before and a group of people that haven't played before. So it's going to be interesting in those first 10 days to see how she plays. That's what I'm looking at. The first 10 days to see how she plays. That's either going to make or break.
Shonee was very hard to predict because of that exact reason. When I was looking at, how far I think she can make it in this game, I did think of she has played that she's about to go into her third time playing this game. And that automatically puts a target on your back. You look at Sandra, first two times that she played, won the game. Third time, she hasn't really played as great the third time on that she's been back, just because she has that name out there. She has that target on her back. Yes, it's a little different because Shonee hasn't, won twice, but she is going to have that target going in. But I still feel like it's that situation of, are they going to look at her like she's a target? We got to get her right out right away, which I always think you should do with returning players. But at the same time, we see it where she could be someone that she takes you under their wing. And I could see other players gravitating to her because she has done well in this game and they want to use her to get far into the game themselves. So it's a tough dilemma. Like, is she going to be a big target, or are players going to go to her to, work with her right off the bat? I'm interested to hear the overall predictions of where you guys have her. I'll go ahead. I have her making the merge, and I have her making the merge, and I have her finishing 4th place. That's
wow.
So I think she's going to make a run. I went on the side that I think a lot of the villains are going to gravitate towards her.
Audience and Teg, do not go with Randy's picks. You will be out there in the cold.
Well, what about you, Abraham? Where do you have her?
I definitely got her making the merge. I think once she makes the merge and then you get with other previous players and the new players has a taste of Survivor, then she becomes a bigger target. I don't think she's a bigger target. I agree with you. That first tribe, they're the villain tribe. They're all villains, but I think they're going to try to find a way. How do we make it to the merge when everybody's painted as a villain? So they're going to have to play with each other. They're going to have to create early alliances. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does. I'm not going to give her that prediction pick of the 4th. I am going to give her the prediction pick of the top 10.
Top 10, okay.
Not the 4th, but I'm going to put her in the top 10.
Tegwyth, you said same?
Yeah, I definitely think she's making the merge. And I also think, I was thinking even maybe like 6 or 7 is kind of where I was thinking, where, if you let somebody like that make it too far, make it too close to the end, it could be you could be playing with fire. So I would say, definitely top 10 is also what I was thinking, but I was thinking even maybe top 8.
You're gonna put her at 8? Hold on, write this down, because when we go through the season, we're gonna have to come back. I'm
gonna put her at 8.
She is just, for whatever reason, screaming to me. There's one other guy later who's also screaming this message to me, like a Ricard or an Omar, who is going to have the strongest game, but just run out of juice when they get to like the final 6, the final 5. And I feel like she could be that person that gets eliminated, and all the fans are like, she should have won this season.
Yeah.
And exactly. So it's screaming that to me. But if you guys are watching and listening, feel free to let us know in the comments who you guys are cheering for. Play along with us. What are your predictions for all these castaways? So next up, staying on the villain tribe, A newcomer, Fraser from Melbourne. He's a real estate manager. Real estate managers always make me so nervous in the game, but I've got a very good feeling about this guy. Tegwyth, we were talking about vibes earlier. I don't know what it is. He's giving me a vibe that he's going to be a really big player in this game. Abraham, I'll go to you first, though, this time. What's your outlook on Fraser?
Here's the X factor of Survivor. The returnee players know what to expect. The new players do not. So again, the first 10 days is going to determine if he has a chance in Survivor at all. Mm-hmm. Because when you start taking away food, start taking away sleep, now you're saying, okay, every bit of my skill set is being challenged. Can I survive that part of it? So if he makes it the first 10 days, I will give him to the merge. But if he doesn't make those first 10 days, because now he has to compete against Samoa, other villains, and can his gift for gab? Because he's already said, hey, I have a gift for gab. I'm going to be able to relate to everybody. I'm going to be able to talk to everybody. And here's the thing about it is, as a real estate person, he's absolutely correct. What he doesn't factor in yet is, can I go through Samoa first before I start playing the game? So I'm gonna say he's gonna make it to the merge.
Okay.
He's gonna make it to the merge, but I'm only gonna put him in the. I'm gonna say he goes 12.
Tegwyth, the quote that he gave us is, "The hardest thing in my job is to get people to trust you, and that is my number one goal, and that'll get me to Soul Survivor." So, are we leaning more towards Abraham here? Makes the merge, but he kind of gets out early merge.
So here's the thing about this, Australian Survivor just in general is the fact that you have so many players, right? Every single season, you have so many people. And I always think there's a beauty in being able to, that's why I'm scared of, that's why I don't love the 3 tribe in American Survivor. There's no place to hide. And in these large tribes, you do have places to hide. And so somebody like this, I think I was getting the vibe that he would, in my mind, is going to kind of play it on the lower key and duck and weave. I agree that I kind of think that he's right there at the merge, maybe leaves right when the merge, right before the merge, maybe barely misses the merge. Because I think, I'm worried that he almost sweet talks too much. Tries to get people to trust him too much. But in the beginning, I think you can hide that a little bit. But then when you start to whittle down a little bit, especially with returnees, I'm worried that could bite him. And now we don't know when the merge is happening. So I kind of was going to place him maybe at the 10th person out. What would that be? 14? Mm-hmm. 13?
Yes. Yeah, it'd be
so
14,
essentially right. Yeah, 14. So right really close to what Abraham was saying. But I'm saying pre-merge.
Pre-merge, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Say tiebreaker, Randy, where you going with this?
We all know Abraham loves to judge my selections here. I really like Fraser. I have a really good feeling about this guy. Not my winner pick, Abraham, but he is my runner-up pick. He's going to make the merge, and he will make the final 3 or the final 2, whichever it is. I just have I don't know, it might be recency bias, but Josh from Blood versus Water. I have a very Josh vibe from him in a way, a little bit more evil version of Josh. And I think Tegwyth, his talking skills, if I am a little nervous about him and possibly coming out the gate and playing way too hard at the beginning, which we do see with new players. But I feel like I tend to like real estate agents a little bit and salespeople in the game. We saw how Cody did. Kind of flailed out at the end, but we saw how he did for most of the game. And if you have that communication skills, you can go really far in the game. You just have to make sure not to overdo it. And I do think with his communication skills, he can make it very far. So I'm putting him merged, and he is my runner up for Survivor.
Amazing.
Randy, we only on 2 players.
I've given my 4th, and I've given 4th place finisher, and I've given my 2nd place finisher. So let's see if Jackie Glazer will make the top 5 here for me. But Jackie Glazer, one of the older people in the game, 49 years old, from Melbourne. She was on Champions versus Contenders. She is a returnee. I have to go to Tegwyth because she was talking about it earlier. poker players in the game of Survivor. She's a professional poker player. So go ahead, Tegwyth. What are we looking at?
I am biased against poker players in the game of Survivor. I feel like on paper, I feel like they have all of the right things that they need. And then in practice, it just doesn't compete, like it doesn't level up or something. Like it doesn't match what I feel like it should be happening. So I'm definitely saying pre-merge. Part of me even wants to say first boot, but the thing is I don't think the villains are going to tribal council first. So that's what's holding me back from saying first boot. So I want to say like maybe third or fourth.
Oh.
So I'll give her the benefit. I'm going to say fourth. And the fact that she's a returning player, I think that there's going to be, returning players are going to have to sacrifice themselves at some point. I can imagine that they're going to stick together like I would as a returning player, but I feel like you're going to have to say, oh, you know what, we'll give this person up, kind of a thing. And I feel like she could be that one.
So she finished 15th on her first season, 15th out of 24 people, which would kind of fit the poker stereotype. Poker players don't do that well. Oh my gosh, you're making me second guess my pick now. I have her making the merge for the third straight person making the merge. I'm seeing motherly figure. Every season has that motherly figure who goes so far in the game. We saw it last season with Chrissy. We saw it with Heather the season for US. Every season has that like motherly figure for the most part, although we did not see it for season 43. I thought Lindsay would have made it a lot farther for that exact reason. But that's why I think Jackie's going to be a motherly figure. I think she's going to be in a key alliance, but I don't think she's really going to play the game. She's going to be one of those players where you get later on in the game and you're like, she doesn't have a chance to win. And I think she will fall victim to being an easy boot at a later tribal where, all the big players are kind of gunning for each other, but it's not quite time yet. Let's just make an easy move. And I think she's going to fall victim to that. So I have her finishing 9th. I do have her doing a little bit better from her last season. But I think she'll be that motherly figure for the tribe. Abraham, what are you thinking?
Not what y'all thinking.
I'm going to go. Your winner pick?
I'm going to go. No, not my winner pick. Quit playing that. Hey, look, Randy, stop. I'm going to say, look, I love poker. I love the World Series of Poker. I love poker. I think the mind that she's going to bring in there is going to be from her poker strategy and the fact that she's played the game twice. She played the game twice. She's coming in as a villain. I think she has enough knowledge in the game to finish at least in the top 10. I'm going to put her in the top 10. I know she's going to make the merge. And here's the thing about it. When you come back to Survivor 3 times, you have to figure out something. You got to know going in Survivor. You already know what the elements are.
Well, this is her second time.
Well, she played it. No, she played in Champions versus. Oh, you're right. This is her second time. Champions versus Contenders. So she has enough information to understand, how do I get further than 15? So that's going to always be in the back of her mind. I don't want to be voted out 15. No matter how we play the game, I don't want to be voted out 15. So I'm going to say she's going to make it at least as high as 10. She's not going to take the 15, and she's going to. We don't know exactly what a merge is going to happen at, but I think she's going to make the merge. So I feel very confident in her because you know what? That very thing is, I don't want to be voted out before like last time. So you're going to change your game accordingly.
I mean, we got very close. So Tegwyth's going pre-merge, and Abe, you and I are both around that 10 area. Abraham, I will let you introduce the next person because we're going right down the list, and I know you love the next castaway.
I don't even know how he became a villain. We're going to go with the Joker.
Are we talking Jordy about the same? You don't know how he became a villain? Are we talking about the same guy?
He was just a little erratic. He wasn't a villain.
he got the nickname the Joker. How
the Joker.
Nickname the Joker and be on the Heroes tribe?
I mean, but if you look at his gameplay from last season, Blood versus Water, in those last 10 or 15 episodes where before his brother got voted out and after his brother got voted out, you see him really playing the game of Survivor because he had to survive. And they were always gunning for him. So I love that grittiness in the Joker. So I'm looking forward to seeing he's definitely going to make the merge and he's definitely going to finish in the top 5. Hey, look, that's why I got him, man.
Tegwyth, you go ahead.
Jordy was one of my favorite people in the last season. Oh man. So here's the thing. I'm nervous about him because, with returnees, everyone else has the benefit of watching this person's gameplay, right? And part of me wanted to make him my winner pick. Like, that's how much I love him. But I'm nervous that we saw how hard he played. Like, he played the game and he was good at it. He was just such a fun television, right? And so I'm worried that that's going to hurt him. And so part of me wants to put him as my winner pick. Like, part of me really, really does. But then part of me is saying he's going to be the merge boot. So like, he's going to be like the first one after the merge, or maybe the first like jury member, whenever that is. Because I think you're crazy to let him in, like let him stay in longer. But boy, do I want to put him as a winner pick, because boy, do I want a season where Jordy wins. That is the season that I want. I love him so much.
So you're putting him, are you saying pre-merge or merge?
I'm saying merge, but I think he's like the mayor of Ponderosa or like that vibe.
Coming into the game, a newly engaged man. I
forgot about that.
I think he got engaged like shortly before they started filming. I don't know the exact timetable. And I quote, "The Joker's back. However, I've learned from last time, I'm still going to have fun. Fun is the number one priority, but to try and at least seem a little bit more responsible." So going into the game, he's kind of taking a step back and say, okay, I need to play a more calm way. But he is going to be a bust this season. What? I have him pre-merge, and I have him being the fifth one out of the game. I love Jordy as much as the next person. I want him, Tegwyth, I agree. I want him to go all the way. He's one of my favorites. But something is just speaking to me saying that he's going to be one of those returning players where people are like, we have to get him out before the merge. That's why I don't think he's going to be one of the first few out, but I think as we get farther into the game, they're going to see that he's going to be taking I could see him in like a leadership position and say Jordy is running this game, and I could see someone flipping on him. So I just have that bad feeling about Jordy that, everyone's like, he's going to go far. And I think he's going to be one of those returning players that kind of flops early in the game.
Nina, Randy, I'm so hyped. Randy, I want you to keep this in mind on that statement. Yeah. I want you to say the Joker and Nina. That's all I want you to say. We're going to be on the podcast, and I want you to say, Abraham, you was right.
Yeah, let's wait till we get to Nina, because when you hear my Nina prediction, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah. I'm going to text and tell her.
Oh no, she'll let me know. She'll watch this and she'll message me afterwards and she'll be irate. Yeah.
I'm feeling that both of them gonna make the merge. When we get to Nina, we're gonna talk about it again. But I think the Joker and Nina are gonna link up.
Okay.
And that's gonna be the force of the game.
When are they gonna link up? They have to make at least the merge. Or the tribe swap. They'll probably tribe swap before the merge, if we're being realistic.
I forgot about tribe swaps. I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah. I bet they'll tribe swap at least before the merge. So you might be right, Abraham, but something is screaming that Jordy. Plus I don't know. I feel like back-to-back players, like if you go back-to-back seasons, it's your gameplay is on everybody's mind. It's recent memory, and I think that can hurt players who play back-to-back. So I am a little worried about that as well. Moving on, I'll make my prediction for this guy first, but we have Steve, otherwise known as Stevie. I'm going to butcher your last name. Koo, I'm going to guess. But basically, he is a returning player, 62 years old, champions versus contenders. He's my first out. I think the villains tribe is going to lose the first challenge, and I think that Stevie is going to be the first out. I mean, he's a character, and I'm excited I haven't seen his season, but I'm excited to watch him play because he just seems like a super entertaining player. And I wish I didn't say he's going to be first out. But if you look at the rest of the villain tribe and say they go to the first tribal council, I mean, it's honestly between him and Michael. A little spoiler for later. If I'm looking at who would be, who might not form a connection and stuff like that. So I think Stevie might fall victim to an easy first boot.
That's a good one. I'm not going to give him the first boot based off of being 62. I'm not going to do that.
I do that all the time. I am a terrible person with that. I always have the old people come first.
You and Will are horrible. And Will should apologize because he said the first boot was he was going to get the first boot on last season. That's the winner pick, the winner for Soul Survivor. But anyway, I think that he's going to be a tribe player. I think it's going to be one of those players on the tribe that you can depend on, and that his voting you can kind of go with either way. So I'm going to say I don't think he's going to make it past pre-merge. I think it's going to be out before pre-merge, but I'm not going to say first boot. I'm gonna probably say he's probably the second or third player to go. Look, the second or third, not the first.
I definitely agree. I think pre-merge. But here's the thing. I don't know how early in the pre-merge. Part of me wants to say earlier on, because he does seem like a character. I also haven't seen his season. But I've seen some of his videos, and I just I don't know. Part of me, in something that he said was he admits that he didn't last as long as he wanted. I mean, everyone who doesn't win Survivor admits that they didn't last as long as they wanted. But you have that going in. You have this mentality of I want to prove myself, prove something, prove people wrong, or I want to do better this time, or whatever it is. And so I think that that's something to keep in mind. So I feel like you can't discount that kind of drive. So I'm gonna say maybe have I already said fifth boot? I want to say I think I said fifth boot for Jackie. So maybe let's say fourth. Villains live back to back, fourth, and then fifth. Yeah.
So if he goes far into the game, if he pulls a Gabler, we are all going to be way wrong. I mean, I just feel, Tegwyth, how much do you feel like age plays a factor in terms of Survivor?
I honestly don't. So the only thing I think it really factors into it is just everyone's preconceived notions of it. Some little fun fact about me: my parents had me when they were in their 40s, and I'm their only child. So my parents are a little bit older than I would say my peers' parents. And so I always am just I feel like age really doesn't play a factor for the person playing. It's the people around the person that's the problem. And it's just kind of you see a lot of early boots, especially in early Survivor, were just the older women typically. And it's just kind of a very interesting thing. So I think it plays a huge part in the game of Survivor, but I don't think it's because of the person. I think it's because of how everyone else views the person, which I don't think is always right. Hence Gabler.
I think it could definitely make it, I think if you're on the older side, it makes it harder the very beginning of the game when you were still getting to know people for that exact reason. Because if you still want to get to know, some of the people and you're like, man, I got to vote somebody out, there's just automatically a target on your back for being older. But I do think if you can make it past the first 3 votes, then get integrated with the tribe. And then I think you stand as much chance as everybody else. I think it's just harder for those first couple of votes. You have to navigate having that older stature.
Survivor season idea, doing a season of everyone over the age of 35. 35 and up only, all 18 players. And I think that would be a great season.
But if we do that, I want to see a 90-year-old out there. You gotta increase it. I want to see a 95-year-old out there.
I think that would be a good season.
There are a couple of challenges that's going to hurt. That's all I'm going to say is there's a couple of challenges that will hurt. And again, you know what? Everybody has a part to play in the tribe on Survivor. You just got to figure out where you fit at. And coming into the game, you can't assume I've seen players where they assume, hey, you're just like my daughter. And either that's a plan action, or you really think that they're your daughter and you forget that you're playing a game and you treat them that way and you end up getting voted out behind that versus using it as a strategy. So, Randy, I think you're right. Once you get in there, you get to know each other. Survivor is an interesting concept. You get to know each other, but you don't get to know each other because I don't know what you're saying is true or not. So I can't really put a lot on it. Look at a player like Brad. I know Brad. So I know Brad is exactly what he presented, but on the show, you don't know that. And he would have been loyal to the end. Whoever went with Brad would have had a vote to the end. But you don't know that in the game of Survivor and the fast pace of the way it's moving. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how the older players, because these are definitely older players. They're in their 60s playing the game of Survivor. So I applaud them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would come back at 62 to go play.
Oh, come on. You'd be back. No, you'd be back.
No, you want to sleep outside, guy? You can do that at home. You ain't got to go wait for some more.
Moving on to Sarah Marsh. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that name too. 23 years old from Sydney, former Miss World Australia. She's also a semi-professional rugby league player. So should be good in these very physical challenges. Tegwyth, I mean, we talked about poker players. How about pageant players, basically?
That is interesting. Yeah, I feel like I guess we've seen a couple of people who have been on pageants, right, but I don't know that they I don't know. I think this is very interesting, not only because like she's, former Miss World Australia, but she also is a rugby player. And I think that's a very interesting dichotomy because I feel like that's not something that I've typically if I'm stereotyping in my brain and I think of what a Miss Pageant or Miss World looks like, I don't think that I would say a rugby player. So I'm super excited to see how she translates onto the screen. And because of how I think she has these different worlds, I think that she's going to be able to relate to more people. And so I actually have her making the merge. Wow. And I actually have her pretty high up. I want to say like landing in like the 6th spot.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
Doesn't she like scream? I don't know. This might sound rude. I don't mean it like this, but when I was watching her video, her glare and stuff, I'm like, okay, she is giving off like villain, badass vibes. Like I do get that vibe from her. And I could definitely see her going far into the game. I have her going pre-merge, but right before merge. Like I think the merge happens at 14 and I have her getting 15th place.
Okay.
So I think right before merge, she barely misses out. And I really don't have reasons for that. When I was just going through, it was just kind of like a feeling that I had. But Vibes. I could definitely, the vibe, exactly. But I could definitely see her going very far into the game, especially if she is as in shape as I think, and she is able to compete at these very physical challenges. Because we know Survivor Australia is an extremely physical game. And she could go on a tear like Shaded last season and win, 5 or 6 immunities. I could definitely see it. Abraham, you're the tiebreaker this time.
Top 3.
Wow.
She's in my top 3. You combining rugby with pageantry. I mean, 2 separate worlds. So we know she can go out there and play rugby. She knows she's physical. She's going to enjoy the physical challenges, but she's also going to be able to talk to people. And her people skills, I think that's what's going to push her over. Being able to play, being able to be a part of the whole concept of Survivor, I think she has the whole package. So definitely making the merge and definitely going to be in the top 3.
Moving on to another very popular player. I'm going to keep saying that because of this season. There's so many players that we all love. Simon Mee, the first person in Australian Survivor to be blindsided with 2 idols before merge. I'm sure he's going to love hearing that for the 1,000,000th time. So he's 33 years old now, from Brisbane, played on Brains versus Brawn. I'll go first this time. He's going to make the merge, and he's going to be top 6. I think he's going to be a key player in this game. I think he is a returning player that people are going to gravitate to. And I think he's going to be a very popular alliance member. And what I mean by that is I think he's going to have his hand in a lot of cookie jars. I do think he's going to find some idols. He's already shown that he has the ability to find some idols in this game. I think he's going to be more cautious with them, although I am nervous that he will waste them because he definitely doesn't want to go out again with idols in his pocket. So I am a little worried about that, but I've got him finishing 6th, like I said. And I think he'll fall victim again. I think he'll make it very far and he'll just run out of friends towards the end. But I think he's going to go far into this game.
Ladies first.
Oh, I actually have a very similar idea, because one of the things that I've heard, as for returnees, is one of the things that you benefit from being a returnee is you know what it feels to be voted out. Well, most of them, not all of them, obviously. But like he knows. He has literally experienced being one of the, like a huge blindside, like, and so you kind of have these cues and these things that when the vibes are off. And so I think that's going to really benefit him in the long run. And I actually have him at 5. So
wow.
being 5th.
Okay.
So very similar. I think that, you learn from your mistakes. I'm just thinking about, like, I live in the American, Survivor world. And I'm thinking, just like, I feel like James, similar thing.
Yeah.
And did well, he did well, not great, but he did well multiple times. And I think that it's going to be a similar thing here.
James also went home with 2 immunity idols.
Yeah.
I think he's going to flame out. I think I got him at 11 and not making the merge. I think he's going to play too hard. I think he's going to come in there trying to prove that I'm not that guy. Not that guy that's going to go home with idols in my pocket again. And I think he's going to overplay himself and he's just going to burn out. So I got him.
Wait,
at
you said 11th not making the merge. How many people you think make the merge?
It's got we'll say 12.
12. So he would make the merge?
So 13.
Oh, 13. Heard.
I got to back him back at the merge.
Okay, you have him pre-merge though.
Pre-merge. Yeah, he's not going to make the merge. I think he's just going to overplay. I think he's going to come in trying to prove that I'm not the same player. I'm not going to lose this again. And he's just going to overplay his hand too many times. And somebody's going to be like, he's playing too hard. He's going to get that label. And they're going to just vote him out. I think he has good gameplay. I think he's going to understand what he's doing when he goes in. But I don't think we got the Omars. You don't understand, hey, Sammy from last season. You played a great game, but you got to know when to try to balance it out. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
Well, let's talk about your good old buddy next. 32 years old. He's known for being Abraham's roommate at Hearts of Reality. He competed brains versus brawn. King George. What are we thinking for King George? Abe, if you say your winner pick, that is so favoritism, I swear.
Hey, what? Look, first of all, King George is a great guy. Great guy. Great roommate for Hearts of Reality. Had a great time meeting. Great time. It was funny. I had arrived to the actual place a day earlier because I have friends in Orlando. So I came down a day earlier. So the next day, King George comes in, and I don't see him. I see his stuff in the room, and I'm downstairs, and he hits me up on Instagram. Hey, I'm your roommate. I'm like, who is this? I never knew who he was coming, so I never knew who he was. And he's literally by the pool, walks over to where I'm at, and he says, hey, man, I'm your roommate. And I was like, King George, who's this guy? So after we go through the introductions and figuring out who's who, then I figure out who he is. But great roommate, great guy. I know he's coming for some payback because he was a runner-up for his season. I know his top nemesis is also playing the game, so that's going to be his focus. I got to put him in my top 5, man. I got to put him in my top 5. Hey, Randy, you a hater because I was going to say close to winner pick, but I'm saying he's definitely going to make the merge.
I know you too much. You shocked me. I'm proud of you. I thought you were just going to say winner pick because you know the guy.
Yeah, he's going to. He has the same challenges as everybody else going into the game, but he knows how to play the game of Survivor. So being a runner-up gives you a lot more information as you get to the later stages of the game of Survivor. But knowing his personality, he's going to have a good time. I would really like to see him, the Joker, and Nina really come together to form that last solid group. So I'm going to definitely put him in my top 5. He's going to play a hell of a game. And I want y'all to see him play because when they said villain, I was like, really? But he got to play his role on the game of Survivor. So it's going to be interesting to take a look at him. But he's definitely going to be in the top 5, definitely going to make the merge, and he's definitely going to have a good time.
Tegwyth, are you agreeing with Abraham, or you got him flaming out here?
I am probably going to change my mind slightly. So I had him kind of flaming out, like being pretty, kind of what you were saying with Simon. Abraham, I think was saying with Simon about how, you play too hard and you have too much to prove. And so I kind of was feeling that having his, the person that he lost his season to on the other tribe would actually hurt his game because he would be trying too hard to make it so that he could like pay back. So I had him at originally at going out in the 18th position. So going out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth out. But I don't know. Now that he says, has a jovial personality, all this stuff. Part of me is thinking maybe he makes the merge. I'm thinking I'm gonna fly here. It's live tribal council. What's going on? I think I'm gonna change it, but now I think I'm putting too many villains on my merge.
It could happen. I mean,
it could happen.
All the
I love Valens. I love the villains. Villains is one of my favorite tribes ever.
Here's some inside tea. Here's some inside tea for you make your final decision. He is a hell of a people person. He is. When I say people person, he is a people person. So go. All
right. I'm gonna put him at getting out 11th. So still merge, but early merge. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. So
that's what I'm thinking on the fly. That's what I'm going to do.
We're merge across the board because I do think he's going to make the merge. I think there's certain people on the show Survivor, which they are too big of characters to flame out pre-merge. And I think King George is one of those people. I do think he's going to make the merge. But I don't have as much faith in him as you do, Abraham. But I have a little bit more faith than Tegwyth does. I have him 8th. So I think he's going to be around that 8th, 9th area, making the merge, but overall having kind of a mid season, if that makes sense. I don't think he's going to play as well as everyone is hyping it up. But I do think he'll have a decent season.
What I'm going to say is, Randy, if you would have came to Hearts of Reality, you would have had a different pick. But that's all I'm going to say.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm going to leave
He's a fan of the show. I appreciate his support a lot. Next up, we have someone who I'm very excited to watch her play, and I don't know what it is about her. But Liz Parnov, 28 years old. She's an Olympic pole vaulter. If I can get my words out. 3rd place. She is going to be in my final 3. She is going to join her fellow villain tribe member. I got to remind myself, Fraser in the final 3. I think Liz is going to work with Shonee. I'm calling that alliance right now. That is a bold prediction I have. Liz will work with Shonee. That will be like a power duo. So yeah, she makes the merge and she gets 3rd place. I think she's going to be very good in challenges. I think she's going to win multiple immunities and kind of fly under the radar. I don't know if she's going to have the game. I think she could be that no vote 3rd finalist. But I do think she's going to work well with Shonee. And then that leads into, I had Shonee going out 4th. She's going to have to cut ties with Shonee to try to make a move. And that's why I think Shonee gets 4th and she gets 3rd.
Interesting. Abraham, what do you think?
No. She's retired pole vaulter. She's in marketing now. So it's you know what? It all depends on how she adapts to Samoa. Some of the players I'm looking at is how do they adapt to the environment first. So I'm going to give her the first 10 days. She hasn't played the game of Survivor. This is her first time. So I'm going to keep her in the top 10. I'm saying somewhere in there, you're going to vote her out in the top 10. She makes it to the top 10, but I'm not seeing top 3. And here's the reason why. You got to be able to overcome the environment, the food, and some people are really different when you stop feeding them and they stop getting sleep. So the personality we see that's all happy and jovial is not the personality you get after a couple of days of not eating or the repetition of different food. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So I'm going to say she's going to be top 10. and she's going to make the merge, but I don't see her finishing any higher. I think she's going to flame out.
Y'all have her much higher than I did.
Ooh.
I have her pre-merge.
Okay.
I also have her going out. I have her on my number in 16th place, which is going out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. Going out 8th. And I this is pure vibes. So on paper, retired pole vaulter working in marketing, I think is a good thing because you have to be able to like see how people are thinking. But it's pure vibes on here, and I have no proof. I have no proof to back up how I'm feeling. It's just pure vibes on this one. I did like what you said, Randy, about her possibly making an alliance with Shonee, but I that made me rethink it slightly. But I'm sticking with going out. What did I say? 6th? I think I had her 16th. No, going out 8th. Yeah.
Not listening to me is a very, very wise decision. Yeah.
You just don't know.
I'm telling you right now how my picks usually go. Shonee, like day one, Shonee and Liz are going to be in an argument and they're going to be going at it and hate each other is what's going to end up happening. Moving on to Anjali Ryo. Hopefully, I am so sorry. I'm trying my best. Yeah. And Anjali Ray or 48
Rao,
years old.
maybe?
Rao, possibly Rao. 48 years old from Melbourne. She's a broadcaster. She's worked on CNN. I don't know if you can trust them broadcasters. I don't know. But I've got her going pre-merge and I have her in 17. So the only reason I just kind of threw that out there is I don't have much on her. I don't really know what type of game she's going to play. Like I said, Tegwyth, we're one and the same going with vibes. I just didn't really get a vibe from her when I kind of got to her and I'm like, she could probably play. I think she's going to be a forgettable player. I do. And I am so sorry, Anjali. All love. I just feel like she's going to kind of be I don't think we're going to be thinking about Anjali in a few years. I think it's just she's going to be there and then she'll be a vote out that people are like, yeah, okay. So Tegwyth, agree with me pre-merge or are you going merge?
I do agree with you pre-merge. And part of me is worried. The thing that made me worry about pre-merge is I put a lot of weight. If I'm not going off of vibes, I do put a lot of weight in like little blurbs that are said or things that they write up. And so like, for example, the pet peeves section when like CBS would always send out the pet peeves section, that always would speak volumes to me because I feel like the pet peeves always show more about somebody than they think. And so the fact that, working with many heroes and villains is a part of what she decided to say, or somebody decided, like a producer decided to say, it's just like, I get that, but it doesn't feel like, I feel like it's speaking to me that it's not merge. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things like that is almost a red flag of not merge. Watch her win, literally LOL. I'm
gonna put you with Randy.
But I'm saying, she goes out maybe like 5th, like 18th or 19th place. Yeah. Because, I had her at 19th, but I think I might bump her up to 18th. And I just think it's, I don't know, again, vibes. And it's just that one
that's
sentence.
what everyone watching and listening at home. This is, you got to go off vibes, especially with the new players. We have about just as much knowledge as you guys. I mean, we can look at their profession and kind of compare that to other people who have played the game of Survivor in that profession. And we can do that. But at the end of the day, it's a shot in the dark. Throw that dart and see where it lands. Abraham, don't tell me you have her going to the merge.
No, I got a pre-merge as well. Okay. Here's the thing about it is when you get out there, like there was one night we got out there and we found one rock crab. And we all split one leg, not the whole rock, just one leg. And that was it. That was done on that night. So I think that if she can overcome Samoa first and get a good alliance, she could go far. But if not, she's with an asterisk, she's my number one boot. And here's the thing about it is somebody has to be voted off. This is a game of voting off. So it's not like,
didn't know that.
I want to pick on her. I think she has to be able to overcome some more first before she can really start playing the game. And this is for folks that are coming back to the game of Survivor, because those first couple of days, those are the days that's the hardest because you got to readjust to everything. So if she can make it past that, I think she can go farther in the game. But right now, if you're going to vote somebody out after losing the first challenge, I think she's going to be the one to get voted out.
Wow, first out. See, Abraham, that's what you like to do all the time with an asterisk. You don't like to you like to say, well, I think they're going to make merge, but they could be pre-merge.
Survivor is unpredictable. You can never know. It's like
he does that just to try to win.
That's my only asterisk. That's my only one asterisk right there.
Next up, we have luxury car PR owner Mimi Tang, 30 years old from Melbourne. Tegwyth, why don't you get us started off with Mimi?
I thought, I have actually feel pretty good about her. I have her making the merge. Okay. One thing that I thought stood out to me, I don't know. I think interesting luxury car owner. I think that means like she owns a PR firm for a luxury car brand, I think. And I just think that that's something very interesting to work in PR and specifically in that realm. And she did mention like working in a male dominated industry. I think that, you kind of would learn to bob and weave and be able to be adaptable with something where you're not in the majority of people working in the workforce. And so I think that that's going to play to her benefit. And I kind of have her going out. I have her in 10th place.
Okay.
And so I have her doing pretty well. I have her making the merge, and I think, we'll see, obviously, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Abraham, where are you at?
Look, I got her making the merge.
Oh.
And here's the thing about it is I think she's going to come in and play in a game where she knows how to communicate. And that's going to be another valuable part of the game. How do you communicate with these other great players or returning players and new players? Which, unlike the real estate, I'm looking at the luxury car and how she does sales and how she's in a male dominant environment. And she's going to be in a male dominant tribe. These are some big guys. They're going to be coming to play the game of Survivor, and they're going to show that I want to be physical. You just got to say, okay, what role do I play in each challenge, or what role don't I play in the challenge? I mean, I want to be a role in the challenge, but I think she's going to have the capability to at least hang around until the merge. I'm going to put her at 8. I think she's going to finish. I think they're going to put her at the top 8. I feel pretty good about her.
Tegwyth, where did you have her place-wise again?
I had her at 10th.
10th? Okay, so we're kind of, I also have her making the merge, so that's a merge sweep for Mimi. I love the part about working in a male-dominant industry and how she kills it. And I have a good feeling about her, but at the same time, I know I've said this for a few people, I just feel like she will just be a number. I feel like she won't really be leading the game. She won't have a great a case, like a winner case. I think she'll just be a number in an alliance. And I have her going out first or second jury member. So I've got her 13th, which would, in my mind, if they do the merge right before 14, I have her being the second member on the jury. If I was to compare to someone like Michelle and Melissa from last season, I could see
like twins?
Yes, being a number for someone, but when it comes time to cut ties and just, I think she'll be an easy vote out.
Here's where I'm gonna disagree a little bit, and I can't remember which one of the twins. One of them started playing at the very end before she got Marianne. And had she played the game of Survivor that way going into it, she would have been more of a factor in the game. But she really started playing she had to make fire. That's what it was. She made fire and she really kind of lit up and started playing the game. But by that time, it was too late.
The last person we have on the villains tribe is Michael Warren, a journalist from Sydney. And I think people look at journalists as villains because they feel journalists lack heart or sensitivity. But a real journalist has all those things. They do care. They do have empathy. But we also want to get that story. I don't have a great feeling about Michael. There's something. I'm not saying I hate the guy. I'm just saying there's something telling me he will not be my favorite player in the game. And I have him going pre-merge, and I actually have him being the third one out. So 22nd place. I think how I have it, and I'm very nervous about this. When I was making my picks, it's like villains tribe loses the challenge, then heroes lose, villains lose, heroes lose, villains. So I'm a little bit nervous about that because how many times do we see tribes go back and forth like that? But I do have him going. So I have Stevie going at the first tribal council. And then I have Michael going at the third tribal council after the heroes lose the second one. I don't know. I just don't have a great feeling about him. I think he could be like an outcast, not really connecting with the tribe. I know it's fitting the stereotype of Randy is just voting off the older people.
We don't know how old he is.
I think he's in his 40s. But I have that feeling that he's not going to connect with his tribe. I'm looking at his tribe members and I'm struggling to find. I could definitely see him and Stevie forming like an alliance early and maybe bringing in like Jackie or something, maybe like an Anjali. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting. And I just think he's going to be on the outs.
That's super interesting because the thing about Michael for me is I have two states of mind. I think he's either the second boot or he's in the top 3. I don't know why. I think that is I know it's very weird, but it's just like, I think that this guy either goes way too hard too fast or he rides it out and makes it and he's third place. I have no like it's and that's such a weird vibe to have for somebody because that's so opposite. That's so incredibly opposite. And so it was taking me a while to kind of decide where I'm going to put him. And I'm going to call an audible and say he's third. I'm saying that he's making the merge and I think he's number 3. Yeah. That's one of the most nervous, like most nerve-wracking things that I think in this whole set of people. Like how I feel. It's like I'm very nervous about that one, but I'm just gonna send it. And let's say
yes, third. Full send. Third.
Send.
I mean, if you end up being right, you will. Wow, that would be
incredible.
I would start calling you like a survivor god. And she's one of the gods. When they talk about the survivor gods, they're talking about Tegwyth.
I mean, man, your picks would not make you a survivor god. But anyway.
Season hasn't even happened yet. What if I'm like perfect across?
Randy, we have 4 seasons on our belt, Randy, and I've been bought all your picks.
It's bound to happen. I'm bound to have a good season at some point.
I've seen all your picks, guy. I'm going Tegwyth. I like this guy. I like him. I'm telling you, he's going to come in and he's going to play the game of Survivor. I think his background just makes him even better because he does have that journalist background. I'm not going to give him an asterisk. I'm going to put him in my top 6. I think if he gets there, he has a possible chance of winning the game of Survivor. But he's definitely going in my top 6.
Well, I think you're wrong, but
we don't even worry about you on that one. I think he's going to enjoy playing the game of Survivor. I think he enjoys meeting and talking to people, which is going to be great. And he has the ability to talk with a lot of different people. And that's going to be great understanding. And here's where I think he has the X factor. Listening. I think his listening skills going to be beneficial to him in the game of Survivor because everybody wants to tell a story, but some people don't want to listen. And you got to sometimes sit back, watch, and listen and see how people move and play the game of Survivor. So I like it. I think we're going to have a great season with it.
This is really interesting. Before we wrap up the villains, none of us had our winner pick. Correct me if I just forgot. None of us had our winner pick as villains. So they're all coming from the heroes tribe.
They come from the
Which
merge
pains
tribe.
me. That pains me. The fact that I don't have a villain winning is like gut wrenching. I love the villains and I hate that I'm not choosing a villain.
It's also just different because usually when we do these cast assessments, right off the bat, usually like the second or third person we talk about, someone says that's my winner pick, and then it's like, well, now we know who you. So it's that build up. Now we have how many 12 castaways and still 3 winner picks to name.
It's wild.
So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to have an advertisement, but we will be right back. Well, welcome back, everybody. We've taken our short break and we continue to truck along in this very long cast assessment. I mean, we love it. We love it. This is what we were born to do, is speak on Survivor. I truly believe that deep down. So let's get on to the Heroes Tribe. We broke down all 12 of the villains, and you want to stay tuned because none of us have said our winner picks yet. So who's going to be our winner pick? Is it going to be Paige Donald, 26 years old from Tambo? She's an Outback Jillaroo. I don't think we've ever had a Jillaroo on Survivor.
I'm not sure what a Jillaroo is.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's something to do with the rodeo. I really do think it's like
we gotta Google it. Hold on.
Yeah, you got to Google Jillaroo. But I'll go to Tegwyth first. What are we thinking about Paige Donald?
I was not getting I think she seems like probably a great person, but in terms of Survivor, I don't know that I'm getting great vibes. And again, just no rhyme or reason. Part of me is thinking that she's going to go out in the 19th spot, which is pretty, I would say it makes it a little bit far. I think it'd be a number. But I don't think that she's going to be doing much to make it further than that. And I think mainly because in my brain, she makes an alliance and it just happens to be the wrong one, and kind of gets stuck. And it is just kind of not, so I guess not a number. I think she just gets stuck in that alliance and can't really get out of it. And so I think that has her going out at like 6th or 7th, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5th out, 4th, something like that. So pretty early on is what I think. So definitely pre-merge in my mind.
Oh, I disagree again. I mean, that's been the common denominator here. Randy goes the opposite of the group.
Let me read this for you right quick, Randy. What's a Jillaroo? It's a slang term for a young woman working to gain experience on a sheep or cattle station in Australia.
Oh, I was way wrong. Oh, okay.
The male version of it is Jackaroo.
What's the better word, Jillaroo or Jackaroo?
No, Jackaroo is for men. Jillaroo
I'm just saying, which one's more fun to say, Jillaroo or
Jillaroo? I think Jillaroo is more fun to say. Jackaroo is pretty fun though too.
I want to be a Jackaroo now. That's super fun. I think I'm getting the opposite vibe. I'm getting happy-go-lucky, going to be a very popular person among the tribe. I think people are going to love her. I think she could be the silly person this season. And I mean that in a great way. I think she could be, provide, much like at the time I said Carla was going to provide so much entertainment, and I could see the same thing from Paige. I think people are going to love her. In terms of gameplay, I don't think her gameplay is going to have a lot of heat behind it. So I have her making the merge, but I have her being the third one on the jury, finishing in 12th place. So I do think she'll be a fun person this season, but I don't see her going far in terms of like gameplay when the numbers start dwindling down and it comes down to the big players.
One thing she said in her thing is she doesn't like water. So,
I wish I saw that.
It's going to be a disadvantage. I mean, she grows up on a ranch.
And there's water on a ranch. It's not like in the middle of the desert.
Not that type of. It's like being at the beach. Fair. Everybody don't want to be at the beach in the sand. So.
I'm just gonna circle pre-merge here for Abraham.
No. I you know what? I like her personality. And I equate. Let me tell you something. After Brad had me at that ranch, and I was out there with the cattle. There's some tough ones out there. So I'm gonna say she's gonna be tough enough, but I'm gonna say that she's gonna be a vote somebody can utilize. I think she's gonna be carried through the game through votes that say, "Hey, if you align with me, I'm gonna be loyal." And I think that's going to take her pretty far in the game, at least until the merge. But then she becomes, are you a swing vote? Or I think she falls into that category. Unless she shows something in those first probably 10 episodes, I'm going to put her down as making the merge. And I'm going to say with you, I think she's definitely going to be on the jury. I'm going to put her down at 14.
Wow. Okay. Tegwyth is on the opposite end of the spectrum here, going pre-merge.
Yeah, but she don't like sand. She don't like the beach at all. I was like,
makes me so nervous.
Next up, we have, is he the oldest? He's the oldest contestant, right? Him and Stevie are the same
I
age?
think they're tied. Yeah.
Yeah. So 62 years old, Gary Gelch, a tourism pilot. I'm going to go let my dog in because I let him out during the break. But Abraham, go ahead and get us started with Gary here.
You know what? I think Gary is going to sit back and relax. And I think Gary's just going to enjoy the game of being out there playing the game of Survivor. If he can control his ability not to say everything that's on his mind, I got him down as making it to the merge. As long as he can just sit back, enjoy the game of Survivor, and just play his game, I feel real good about Gary just kind of floating through. I think he's going to be definitely going to be on the jury. I'm going to put him down 10th. I think he's going to have a good time. I think he's going to have a good time.
Abraham, we make predictions every single season, and I need to start going through with my predictions. Last season, I said no chance would. I think, was it Dwight or James? I said no chance that they would make the merge. I think it was James. It had to be James. I said not a chance, and if he does, I will do an entire podcast with those buck teeth.
Yeah.
I do plan on doing that still. I just got to get some buck teeth, and I've been super lazy. No way Gary makes the merge. Absolutely no way. Okay. If Gary makes the merge, I will. Oh my gosh, let me think here.
You probably want to fulfill your last loss before you start.
I feel confident about this one. If Gary doesn't make the merge, I will do an entire podcast with peanut butter on my nose. Or if he does make the merge, so it would drive.
Hold on. That's going to look crazy, Grant. How about this right here?
It's fine. It's fine.
No. Here, let's okay. We're going to go because you still got to be able to see. We're going to have whatever the color of their buff is. You got to put the buff on your head the whole game. I
can't have their buff. You can't get Survivor Australia buffs.
Oh, really? You're going to the wrong sources, guy. Going to the wrong sources.
Point is, I'll do something wacky. Okay. I love Gary. He seems nice. But I have him going. The only reason I didn't pick him to be first out is I didn't want to do the whole old guy thing, but I already did it with Stevie. I have him being the fourth one out. I think he's going to be one of the first 4 people out of the game.
So I am obsessed with Gary. I think that do you know how hard it was to not choose Gary as my winner pick?
What?
Yeah.
Is this because of the Gabler thing? Are you?
No, it's literally not. It's literally not. It's part of me. So I am putting him at number 4. I'm saying that he's going to make it to the final 4. And I just want to read something. So a free climber, a free diver, spear fisher, and Latin dancer. Let me just say, free climbing is I rock climb, like sometimes like I boulder, right? I'm not very good. So hard. So I think that if he is saying at 62 that he is still a free climber, that this man must be in great shape. Firstly. Secondly, he lives on the beach. He's a tourism pilot. I don't know. He has to deal with, I don't know if you guys have ever worked in any kind of service-facing industry. People are horrible. And he has to deal with that because tourism is not an easy thing to work with. And so I think that all of these things are going to lead him to be this. It's just like, cool, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. No, but he also works in challenges. And so I think people are going to see him as an asset and make it to the merge. And then people are going to underestimate him. And because of his age and make it further. And I think it really was hard for me not to put him on my winner pick, but I didn't. I put him as 4th in the top 4. So that's all I've got to say.
Boom. And there you go.
I actually agree with a lot of what you said, and I'm like, damn. Maybe
you can't take yours back. You're stuck with whatever.
Damn, maybe I just bypassed over the free climber, free diver, spearfisher, because now I'm thinking he could be an asset to the tribe. I still don't see him going that far, but just look at someone like Rupert, super in shape, providing for the tribe. Rupert,
if you can super in shape,
Rupert's in shape. He was killing
talking about-
challenges.
He was killing challenges, but he wasn't super in shape. He was in shape.
Okay, we'll
was
put you
strong.
versus Ruben. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna end up doing a podcast with like peanut butter and buck teeth, and it's just gonna be an image for.
I do like that
Oh
part.
my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I am on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm so sorry, Gary, too. We've messaged a little bit and he's like, I can't wait for you to see the season. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm being mean to a friend. Let's talk about the horse, Shaun Hampson. Yeah, that transition competed on champions versus contenders. Actually, this was the first Australian season that I ever watched, but I actually never finished it. I got to like the final four and then they took it off Paramount Plus. And I was super mad, and I just haven't gone and found the links. But they call him the horse because he is one of the biggest challenge beasts, not only in Survivor Australia, but in Survivor as a whole. This man is like 6'5". I don't have the exact numbers here, and just rips from head to toe. And he is definitely the type of player who can drag your team through challenges. I have him making merge. I think there is no way Shaun doesn't make the merge.
How did I know that?
But once he makes the merge, the moment he loses a challenge, he's target number one. And so I have him finishing 11th, being, I think that would be the fourth person on the jury.
I have a very similar thought process to that. Now, I already gave away my 11th spot. So, and I honestly would put him in the exact same spot. So because I'm going to do the thing that I think is closest. And so I'm putting him at 13th for the exact same reason that you said. I don't know if that's, I would say that's merge, but I don't really know, but I'm going to say he's merge. He's going to make it to the merge. But I got him at 13.
You look at the Joes, the Aussies, the Malcolms, people who are so good at challenges. And that's kind of that player stereotype. That's where they always finish. They make the merge. And then as soon as they lose, they're out of here. Abraham, do you agree with us? Is this going to be like a clean sweep about 10th through 13th place?
Well, after meeting Jonathan in person and being drugged in the pool with his physicality, I think he has to learn how to lose and not lose. He can't win every challenge. He's already going to come in saying he's a challenge beast. He has to be able to lose some challenges, not to be a threat. I do believe he's going to make it to the merge, but I do believe he's going to be like the fifth or sixth person on the jury. So I'm definitely, wherever that's at, he's definitely going to be on the jury. He's not going to have a chance to win the game of Survivor. And that's the reason why. If you know you can't beat him, now it becomes a strategic games where you have Mimi, who's a salesman or a journalist, and they're like, okay, well, we can't beat him physically. We got to keep him with us long enough to win, which I think that's what the good tribe is going to do, the heroes. But once he gets past that, unless he has a strong alignment with somebody on both sides, he's going to need villain and he's going to need heroes. He's not going to go far after they actually merge. So after the merge,
we kind of all agree with where Shaun's going to end up. I do find it interesting. He hopes that his social game will take some of the attention away from his physical game. It's just, if you're that much of like a challenge, it's hard to do.
And known for that. And you're
Yeah.
not like a Jonathan going into it. Like, you're known to being a challenge beast. I think it's really difficult to get away from.
Yeah. And I mean, Abraham, to your point, I know you're going to have to lose some challenges, and that might be throw an immunity challenge time to time. But if you're someone like Shaun, you can't afford to throw an immunity challenge, because I just don't think, I think you could lose all the challenges throughout the season, but I think that would be bad for him, because even though he might end up getting eliminated because of being such a challenge threat, I think that's what's going to carry him on in the game too. They're going to keep him around because he's a challenge threat. If he's not providing that for the tribe, I could see him being an early first boo.
He's going to have to figure out how to navigate after the merge. Before the merge, I think he's going to be fine. But after the merge, he's going to have to figure out also, do they have enough food to fuel it? Because the bigger you are, the more you're going to need in order to be able to compete in challenges. Now, they could do it like they do some players, where they say, okay, we want to make sure you're ready for the challenges. And they're using that player to get farther in the game. Or they could say, okay, here's the thing about it is, he's going to become a threat somewhere long before we get to the final five. he's going to be a threat long before that. So somebody has to make a decision on when to take him out. That's like saying Jesse from last season, U.S. Survivor, did not win not one challenge. But everybody around him won challenges. But he was a threat. So when opportunity came to take him out, guess what? They took him out.
Mhm.
I think he ran out of immunities. If he'd have had one more immunity item,
yeah, that's
Jesse,
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Jesse could have been the winner for Soul Survivor.
Next up, we have, I see a lot of people backing this guy up as maybe a newbie fan favorite, and that is Benjamin Law, 40 years old and author. Basically, it says here, using his journalism skills to find out information and his natural warm nature to play a strong social game, Ben admits while he might not be the strongest, he's scrappy and hopes his fellow players won't see his game coming. Tegwyth, I'll go to you first for Benjamin here.
So like I said before, I do think that these little bios and the little like things that people tend to say about themselves or have said in the past do say a lot. And while I do think that he seems like if he can make it far, I think he would do really, really well. I'm worried that when somebody says, while I admit I'm not the strongest, that little part, it does speak like I'm worried that I think the heroes are going to lose the first challenge. And I think, in such a large tribe, you're going to want to try to keep it a little bit stronger. Maybe he can figure out a way to hide, and I would love that. But part of me is just saying, like, I think he's going to be the first boot, and and it's just like, when you know your weaknesses, you can typically address them. But I'm worried that in a game like Survivor, you're not going to have the time because people are going to want to win challenges, and I'm worried that he's going to be the first boot. So I have him pre-merge in first boot, unfortunately, because I think he seems like if he makes it far, I think he would be amazing. But that's kind of how I'm feeling.
Look, so we Randy, hold on for a second. We don't even have to worry about it. I got him as first boot too.
What?
Do you really?
Wow.
Yeah. I just think that adjustment period coming in, and you already stating that you're not sure about who you are going into the game. If nobody else can be confident in you, you have to be confident in yourself going into the game with Survivor, because everybody's gunning to win, and you got to go in with the same attitude. I want a gun to win. If he doesn't make it past the first couple, if they lose the first time, like, here's the thing about it, somebody got to be voted out. It's not that he's going to probably be a bad player.
Right.
His own words say he's not going to be the best player. So for me too, he's going to be first boot.
I'm shocked. I am so lost for words. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to be a strategic player. I obviously think he could struggle in the challenges. And adding to your point, Tegwyth, on the fact that he's like, I might not be the strongest. That shows a lack of confidence. And in this type of game, you really do need, much like life in itself, you need that confidence to back yourself up. So I'm a little worried about that. I have him making the merge. So not first boot. But I do have him being the first jury member. I think he could be.
What do you see that we don't see?
What do you see that I don't see? Yeah, no, I see potential in Benjamin. So I probably am just completely wrong. But next up,
I would love for him to make the merge. That's all I'm gonna say. But
yeah, I think he could be an entertaining player this season. Next up, we have the face of the hero tribe, the only returnee winner this season, unless I am incorrect. Yeah. Hayley Leak. She won Brains versus Braun, 32 years old now. Abraham, is she going to do it again? Is she going to be the first person in Australian Survivor history to win 2 seasons?
And here it is. I haven't had a chance to use my favorite word yet. They're petty people in the game of Survivor. So no, she's not going to win. I think she's going to do well in the game. I think that they're going to look at that as a reason why not to let her go and be even in the talks about winning. She's not going to be. I'm going to give her. She's going to finish in the top 10. I definitely think she's going to finish in the top 10. But they're going to say we're not going to let you win again. We don't care how good you are, or how great you're playing. They're going to always have that little stab in the back of she's already won. Why should she get a chance to win again? And it's just a matter of how they look at the game.
Tegwyth, I'll have you be the tiebreaker because I don't think she makes the merge. I think she will flame out this season. And basically what I mean by that term is I think with that target on her back, I don't see, I mean, especially in today's age where we've seen Tony win twice and we've seen Sandra win twice. And, there's been people who have been really close to winning twice. I just don't see them letting Hayley make the merge. I don't think she's going to be one of the first people out, but I do think a couple weeks into the competition, she'll be someone that they're like, we got to get Hayley out of the game before it's too late. We have to make that move. So I have her finishing 18th, which is probably about 7 votes within the game. I think they'll get Hayley out.
So this is also one where I felt like Hayley is either going to go really far and make it to pretty much the end. Like, I don't think she's going to be an early merge boot because part of me thinks is like, if you make it to the end, people are going to be like, oh, we're not going to vote for another winner or whatever. Maybe they feel safer having her by their side. But I actually do agree that I don't think she's going to make the merge. Probably, I almost want to say that she's one of the first ones out, but I kind of want to give her the benefit of the doubt. So I'm actually putting her at 17. So very close to what you're saying. So pretty, a couple votes in. I almost put her as my number 2, getting second place. But I just really don't think that they're going to let her make the merge. And so that's why I have her at 17.
I'm putting an asterisk next to her picture so we can have this discussion when it happens.
Oh, yeah. How does it feel, Abraham, to be the one on the outs, huh?
I don't believe I'm on the outs. I think a lot of other people are going to flame her out long before she will. So we will see. This is going to be pretty interesting.
I could very much see that.
The winner pick not even making it to the merge, I think that's a new one. So we did see it in the last Survivor, but we introduced the U.S. Survivor into their game. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Next up, we have.
I just also want to say no one has a winner pick yet. Nobody has.
Mine is coming up. I'm just waiting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
We don't
7.
have that many left, and nobody has a winner pick yet. Do we all have the same winner pick?
No, I think
Randy's a hater. Randy's a hater.
I would probably bet my life savings that I know who Abraham's winner pick is.
You're wrong for that one, Randy. But you're probably right.
No, I'm not going to do it because I will probably lose it. But if you say who I think it is, I will say, man, I should have done it. Anyways, we're moving on to one of my favorite people, just because she has been a huge supporter of the podcast and our Instagram channel. And that is Felicity Flick Palmatier. I don't know. I love her. She seems like queen energy. I cannot wait to watch her play. She is a returning player. She was on Brains versus Brawn. She finished 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong, but behind Hayley and George. I believe she finished 3rd that season. So she is returning to try to win. She says, and I quote, "Finally, I get to play Survivor on an island. It's very on brand for me. The Outback was not. I'm way more in my element here." And because if you go to her Instagram page, she is always at the beach. She basically lives on a beach. I have high hopes for her. This might be a little favoritism going into this pick, but the person I picked as my winner pick is literally my favorite entering the season, or one of them. And I'm going to say she makes the merge and she finishes 7th. I think she will. I think, bold prediction, her tribal elimination will be wild. It will take an idol or something, but I do think she'll have an exciting exit.
Let me just say, I almost chose 7th for her, which is so crazy that you chose 7th because I literally almost chose 7th. I have her coming in final 2. I have her coming in second.
Wow, I could see it.
Yeah. I feel so. I'm not gonna. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it when I get my winner pick. But I do. I think final 2. And she's number 2.
Oh, Abraham.
Let's say congratulations on her engagement. So
congrats. Yes. Congratulations. Yes.
I like a fun player. I think she's going to have, there's some players I think they're just going to enjoy playing the game of Survivor. And she's definitely one of those players that I think she's just going to enjoy playing the game of Survivor. I think the bonus comes in. She has experience in playing the game of Survivor. So she kind of looks and sees, okay, here's going to be my pitfalls. Also, she enjoys being at the beach. That's going to help. Let me tell you something. When I was in Fiji, I did not like being in the sand every day because when you have to walk in the sand and carry stuff, it is a chore. So, but she already loves being in the beach environment. So I think that's going to benefit her. I'm looking, she's definitely going to make the merge. I'm going to put her, she's definitely going to finish in the top 5. She's definitely going to be in the top 5. She's going to be one of those players where I think she's going to bring both sides. She's going to be able to play the game. She came out of brains versus bronze. So she kind of got an idea how she's going to approach it. And I think she's just going to have a good time. I think you're right. She's going to be one of those players that's going to have a good time this whole season. So I'm looking forward to seeing her play.
I cannot wait to see her play. And I can't wait to speak with her too. Oh my gosh. I can't wait if you guys didn't hear, we are scheduled. We're still working on it, but we are currently scheduled, unless something has changed, to do exit interviews this year. So make sure to hit that subscribe button or like the podcast, follow along, and you'll get to hear our exit interviews all season, and can't be more excited for that. Okay. So we are down to 6 people. Still no winner pick. This has never happened. There's 3 winner picks still available here. So moving on to Rogue Rubin, 32 years old, from Melbourne. I always say that weird. Melbourne. Yeah, there we go. Film director. Love this. She is an animal activist, and I could not love that more. I almost wanted to make her my winner pick on that alone because of what she does for animals. I mean, I could sit here all day and talk about my love for animals. But we'll let another animal lover get us started here, and that is Tegwyth. Not saying Abraham doesn't love animals.
I have a pet. What kind of pet do you have? Do you have a dog or a cat?
I have 2 cats.
See, I love cats. I'm a cat person.
I love them, and they're perfect city animals.
Yeah.
I, as much as I love Rogue, and I think that, you know, if she could be on the screen a little bit longer, I think that she'll make great television, and I would love to watch her play. I do think that I have her going out in second. No, yeah, I don't know why. I think that's the quote of the episode for me. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
So yeah, I think it's, again, vibes.
I mean, I'll back you up there. I'll back you up. I have her going out 5th. So I do think she's going to be an early exit. And that's why it was so tough, because I'm like, I want her to do well. I'm rooting for her, but I do think she's going to be one of the first 3 heroes eliminated.
Well, gotta always be somebody that disagree. I got her as my number 2nd winning.
Wow.
She is my runner-up. And here's the reason why. She can find peace and quiet. One of the things about being on the game of Survivor, you have to find peace in yourself. And due to the work that she does, she spends a lot of time by herself. So she doesn't have a problem being quiet and just sitting back and watching. One of the keys being, if everybody wants to go on the game of Survivor, sometimes you just got to sit back and just watch. And she has that ability. So I like her chances in the game of Survivor. That's my runner-up pick right there. I'm going to put an asterisk by there because we definitely got to follow her and her gameplay.
Abraham, that's the one time that I'm actually hoping you are right.
Yeah, I'm the only time.
The only time, yeah.
For this,
you got to kind of manage Abraham's ego. So if he gets right too many times, yeah. Next up, longtime fan of the show, Matt Sharp. I am so excited to see you play, man. Congratulations. Love that you get to live out your dream. A lifeguard. Abraham, could you not find his information here? I don't know how old this man is. Where he's from.
They didn't have, I don't know what they were doing on this one. They didn't have anything.
He actually doesn't exist.
Yeah, I looked, I was like, why is he? They just, for a couple of them.
He's invisible. Winner pick. No, he's not my winner pick. Not my winner pick. I have him going 16th, barely missing out on the merge. So I have him going pre-merge. He says, and I quote, "I want to be trustworthy and loyal early on, but at the right moment in time, I want to make those big moves because I'm here to play, not to just sit back and relax." That screams to me he's going to play too hard a little too early. So love you, Matt. I hope you prove me wrong, but you're not making the merge in terms of my predictions. He's going to go out kind of right before merge in that 16th spot. Abraham, what do you think?
I mean, he looks like a nice guy. I mean, you look at his picture, you want to play with this guy. He looks like that type of guy. So I think he's going to be able to, one, being a lifeguard, he likes being about water. So you got to be able to feed the tribe. Somebody has to be able to fish on this tribe. We got too many people that love water, love being at the beach. If he can kind of get in that Ryan type role where he's a provider, I definitely got him going to the merge. But again, he's going to be either the first or second on the jury. He's not going to go that far. I know he's going to make the merge because he just got that. He has that image, that aura, and he deals with people as a lifeguard. So I'm hoping that gets him to the merge.
See, what worries me is what Abraham, you just said that you like one of the things that you know, important to be on Survivor is to be able to kind of sit back and watch and see what's going on. And in his quote, he says, like, I don't just want to sit back and relax. And that really makes me super nervous because I think when you go in to a game and you are like, you know what, I really want to make those big moves. Obviously, everyone wants to make the big moves, but that makes me nervous that that's his mindset. And so I actually have him going out, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4th. So I have him in the 21st spot, getting 21st place. So having 4th go out. Because I think there are a lot of other strong people on this tribe that I think that they'll be like, you know what? Yeah, he's a lifeguard. Yes, he's strong, but he makes me nervous. That's kind of what I think the thought process of people when they vote him out. And so that's what I'm nervous about. I would love for him to, you know, I want every single person to prove me wrong. And I would like there to be 24 winners, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling on him. So I think he's pre-merge and I think he's going to be the 4th boot.
Who voted themselves out last year for being nervous? I forgot the young lady's name.
Lindsay.
Lindsay voted herself out.
Well, yeah, it was Lindsay.
No, it wasn't Lindsay. It was before the one that was a nurse. She was a nurse.
You talking Naneka? No, not Naneka.
She's a nurse.
Justine? No.
Justine.
Are you talking?
I think it was Justine.
Oh, got to have last year's report too. I
think it's Justine.
I think it's Justine. Yeah,
because I think it happened twice. I think it happened to Lindsay and to Justine.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Lindsay. I'm confusing Lindsay with. I'm confusing the Lindsays because I know Lindsay from 42. Yeah, it was Lindsay. Lindsay basically got voted out because she was nervous. We're just going to ball it down to being nervous. So I could see him being that kind of vote out. Just being nervous.
That's what worries me. Because that's what I worry about big fans going into it, that you have all these big ideas and that it just makes me a little nervous. I hope I'm wrong. I would love him to do better, but that's kind of how I'm feeling.
Final 4. We are down to the final 4 here. Woo! And let's talk about our great friend of the show. We've had the pleasure to speak with her. Abraham, you've met her in real life. It's not the virtual world, if you get what I'm saying. But basically, Nina Twine, Sandra's daughter, breaking off from her mother. I don't want to even bring her mother into it anymore. That's the last time I'm ever going to say it. 25 years old now, from North Carolina. She competed last season, Blood versus Water. She's going back to back. Super funny thing. So Nina was going to come on and cover season 43 with us and do like a breakdown episode. And I messaged her and I didn't get a message back forever. And I was like, And then she got announced for the season and now it just makes total sense because I was like, it makes complete sense now. But yeah, Survivor Royalty, she's back. We all know her story. Last season, she left due to a terrible injury and she was at such a great position in the game. Abraham, is she going to improve on her time in Australia this time, although she's in Samoa now?
So, well, we know from last year's injury where it was a freak incident on one of the challenges. It was an injury that she couldn't continue playing on. But up until that point, she was playing a great game of Survivor. And I do have a little bit of a insight because meeting her in person, she's the funniest person you ever want to meet. I mean, just great to hang out with. So, of course, Randy, you know, she's my winner pick.
I should have bet my life savings on it. Oh,
it's like meeting King George. When you meet them in person, then you see them play the game. And for her, I've seen her play the game, and she has a very well knowledge of the game of Survivor. And that's going to help her play through the game. But I think her winning is going to have to come with the help of the Joker and a couple other players. But I think she's going to navigate definitely get past the merge, and then navigating through everybody else to get to that sole survivor. I don't think they're going to look at her as a U.S. player because Nina has had opportunity to stay and be in Australia and be on that side to be embraced by the Australian fans. So that's the great part. So I don't think they're going to look at her as a U.S. player. I think it's going to look at another player playing Survivor. And you're right. We're not going to hear her mom's name because that's not who she has presented herself as. So my winner pick for heroes versus villains, Nina Twine.
Oh, Tegwyth, are you agreeing?
She is also my winner pick.
Ooh.
And I almost didn't want to do it because it just seems so basic, like such a not basic, but it just seems like I love her so much. I loved watching her last season, and I think that her approach to the game was so beautiful to watch. Like borderline masterful, the way that she was able to work with people and figure things out but not have a target on her back. And I'm worried that how well she did is going to paint a target on her back a little bit, but I trust that she is able to move away from that target and put it onto somebody else, or do all of that good stuff. And I think she's a great Survivor player, and I'm super excited to watch her again. And my winner pick.
Who knew? Hey, Randy, who knew? Oh, Randy didn't know. Okay. You didn't see that coming, Randy, did you? You did not.
Nina, forgive me. I love you. Forgive me. Second person out is going to be Nina.
No.
She will be the first person voted out of the Heroes tribe when they go to tribal council at the second.
That hurts my heart.
She's gonna message me too. I know it. She's gonna be like, "Yo, what? What is this about?"
You do know we meet some of these people in person, don't you?
I know, and I do want to meet her in person. We've talked about like meeting up sometime. Oh my gosh. Look, I love everything about Nina. I love the second generation of Survivor star that she is. I know we don't want to talk about, her mom, but at the same time, I'm excited about having Survivor become a second generation game. I want to see Boston Rob's kids play. I want to see Jeremy's kids play. Like, I'd even like to see Rupert's daughter, right? Yeah, daughter play. Like, I want
Cerise'
to see
son. I would love to see Cerise' son play.
Yeah, Cerise' son, exactly. And
he's
like,
an interesting guy.
Like, it's just coming to that time that we're going to start seeing these second generation players. And I think it's so exciting on one hand. And on the other hand, I'm like, damn, like I want to play Survivor, and it's just going to take a more spots. But I just think it's so interesting to see how much different they play from their parents when, we all know their parents are literally kind of in their ear. Like, this is what you should do when you go out there, and you can either listen to them or you can play your own game. We've seen that the kind of second generation with, you had Russell Hantz and then you had Brandon Hantz, and we saw how chaotic both of them were. Yeah. So like, I think it's interesting having that second generation factor. And at the same time, I also love that, her heart is in Australia. Australia stole her from the US version. And it's crazy to think that Nina was so close to playing a US season and she just didn't make the cut at the very end, which that makes no sense to me. But it's just like, she being an American playing in Australia, I think is awesome. Ideally, I know it will never happen, but I would love if these networks still film their own version of the show. Like, Survivor US can keep the 26-day thing if they want with 3 tribes. And then I know I don't want them to, but if Jeff has his way, they're going to. And then Australia has the more physical game with more people and longer. And then South Africa has a more like a social strategy game. But I would love if we open it up not only to be just Australians for Survivor Australia, not just United States and Canadian citizens for US. If we opened it up to be a more global game where you bring all these cultures together, I think would make super interesting. So I love that factor, even though she's the only like American this season. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that I'm going to be cheering her on so much. She's like one of my 3 favorites this season. There's 3 women that I'm cheering on so much this year. And I just feel like she's going to be the first. It's going to be a shock. And I think it's going to set the tone for the season, that just because you're a returning player doesn't mean you're safe. It's on everybody's mind, her last season, that I'm also worried about that. And, we were so addicted to what could have been if that injury didn't happen. that I think everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, wait till you see Nina play this year. And it's just lining up to be maybe not the first one voted off of the Heroes Tribe, but it's just lining up to be a disappointing season for her. And I'm really nervous about that. So I am. Oh, I hope you guys are right.
You better hide in the corner, Randy. You better hide in the corner, guy. I don't know. You got some cereal over there or something? I don't know what you're eating today. I totally disagree with you on that, Randy. I think we're gonna see her go farther because she has more time.
And being the one American to win out of all these Australian players, I just can't see it happening.
But look at the last two Canadian winners. They just played, and you got Erica winning. The last two Canadian winners were like, you came to the U.S., we opened it up for you to play, and you came and won twice in a row. I think when you're starting to look at the game of Survivor, you don't worry about where they're from. Nobody ever thought that Erica was a Canadian player. Nobody ever thought, I don't know why I'm losing her name at the moment.
Marianne.
And Marianne is the best. She is the best. If you meet her in person, she is exactly how she is on TV. They're two Canadian players, and nobody says, oh, somebody from Canada came and took it away from us. They was like, no, they played the game of Survivor. And I think when you start playing the game of Survivor and start developing your relationship with the people you want to root for, that's why I don't like the 3 tribes. You never get a chance to develop anything to root for anybody and say, this is the person that I want to get behind to win. And you got to have a little more time. I think they did a good change in that, get on my soapbox, in that you didn't vote 2 people out at the very first vote out. They only voted 1 out after 41, you haters. 42, 43 has only been 1. So I think she's going to develop her own game. I think it is her time. And I love the fact that she went to Australia to play and they're giving her a chance to shine. So
I mean, he said it. Jonathan said, I feel like you'll be back very soon. And he meant it. She's back immediately. Well, let's get to, first off, I'm sorry, Nina. I love you still.
He's a hater.
But let's get to my winner pick. Shonee Vincent, 39 years old, actress out of Sydney. We've seen an actress come into Survivor Australia and absolutely kill the game. And that was Pia, Champions versus Contenders. And I think Shonee's going to do the exact same thing. I think she is going to play a lovable social game. I think her social game is going to be one of the best. And I think she has what it takes to kind of make sure that she's not target number 1 heading into the finale. And I think she'll have the skills to speak. I am a little nervous, obviously, because she is an actress. And will she lie about that? I don't think so. And if you say, I'm a professional actress and stuff, people are going to think right away, then you don't need the money. Mm-hmm. But Pia already showed that, you can play that actress role and still go on to win the entire thing. Mm-hmm. She says, I'm not planning on coming in and being Shonee, the actress. This is an opportunity for me to actually remove myself from the actress side and bring to light Shonee, the person. And I love that quote. I think it's an amazing quote. And this has been my winner pick since they announced the cast. I have never wavered. I have that much confidence. So Shonee, congratulations. You have got the Randy curse for Survivor Australia, Heroes versus Villains, and you probably won't make merge now. But you are my winner pick.
I'm trying to look up her IG page right quick. I might have to disagree with you, Randy. Go ahead.
I also have to disagree. Not because I think she makes it. I would like to say that she makes the merge, but I think she goes right before the merge. I don't have the right before the merge number. I think I have 15 is the closest. Yeah. And so that's how I'm placing her. I think that all of the things that you said are accurate and correct. However, I'm worried that she'll find a way where she'll just kind of be stuck between a rock and a hard place and not be able to fight. Like I envision her needing an idol to save herself and then just not finding one, kind of a thing. So that's kind of how I'm thinking for her. But I think everything you said feels right, So I would love to see her win it, but that's kind of how I'm feeling.
I had to go to her IG page right quick and see, because people always post stuff. They want the fun stuff. And I'm going to have to put it down for, I'm not going to say because she's an actress. I'm going to say she's playing a game of Survivor. She's going to come in and play her game. And she's definitely going to know how to be into different characters. I think that her biggest challenge is going to be Samoa. It's not going to be, I'm not going to say, that's why I'm going to put her at I'm gonna put her at pre-merge. I think she's gonna either make the merge or be that cutoff point for the merge. But I'm not gonna say it's gonna because of how she plays the game so much.
Mhm.
Is can she make it past that adjustment to being in Samoa, the environment? And if it rains, we probably gonna lose half our tribes. If it start raining for consecutive days, or they got some kind of
Mhm.
freak storm, and the weather, because even in South Africa, it was cold at night, and
Mhm.
we had where people were trying to be around the fire. So I think if she can make it past the elements and the environment, she can truly blossom and play her game. So I'm going to say she's going to be the cutoff of the merge.
Oh, wow.
I
So
gotta,
that we have our
yeah.
winner picks, 2 for Nina. So Tegwyth and Abraham going Nina, and I am going
Oh wow.
Shonee. But I mean, we agree that a badass woman is winning this season.
Woohoo! I would
we
love
Oh
that.
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
We do agree with that.
we'll vote the guys out.
Let,
I don't know how we did that one, but
let's finish this up here. So next up we have Sam Webb, 34 years old. He competed in Australian Survivor 2016, which is the oldest season back looking out of all the returnees. So it's been a little bit since Sam played. After lasting 49 days without a single vote against his name until he was sent home, Sam played a game of mastership and loyalty. And while his morale hasn't changed, he knows the game has evolved, and so will his gameplay. Tegwyth, will he make it another? It'll be like 46 days this time, not 49, but will he make it to the end again?
I think he's going to go a little bit farther. I think sometimes it benefits from having I say this as I chose Nina as my winner pick, but I think it benefits having some time away from the game as a returnee. And I, funnily enough, Australian Survivor is one of the few seasons that I've seen all the way through the first season. So I feel like I know his gameplay pretty well, and I do think he's a good loyal number. And I think he's going to figure out a way to ride that wave. So I have him placing 7th. So kind of higher up, but not in that top 6. I almost put him down at 9th. But spoiler alert, my 2 spots left are 7 and 9. And so I was going between him and David. And so I just think that he's gonna ride that wave a little bit longer, and I have him at 7th.
Abraham, where do you have him?
well, I think it's going to be at least the top 10. I think he's going to come in and enjoy the game more because it's interesting when you play the game of Survivor the first time. It's just so much stuff going on. You really don't get to enjoy everything that's about Survivor. Lindsay from season 42 said it best. It was one of her most peaceful times because you don't have anything else on the island but the people that you're there with, and you don't have the distractions. And I think he realizes that from not playing. So coming back with that much of a gap, I think gives him a whole better perspective. So I think he's definitely going to be in the top 10. I would go so far to say he will probably be in the mix for running for the win. I think he's going to be in there, but he has to get to the top 10 first. It's with him, it's going to be how he plays the first half of the game. How do you make it to the merge? And then how do you make it after the merge? Because the merge is going to be critical. And if they do a tribe swap, that's going to even make it even more critical because now you got to say, okay, how do I play this new game when half your tribe might be this, half your tribe might be that? So it's going to be pretty interesting. I like this guy. I think he's going to enjoy this second time around and just be a part of the whole Survivor experience. So I definitely see him in the top 10.
I also have him top 10, and I actually have him top 6, and I have him top 5. He's going to finish 5th place. So I have him making the merge. I think this guy is going to be loved by his tribe. I think he's going to be in the majority alliance. I think he could be in a key position amongst his alliance as being one of the leaders, one of the people who kind of navigates where the vote's going to go. What makes me nervous about saying Nina's going to be the first one out of the Heroes tribe is I could see Nina and Sam working together. I really could see them being a good group. Bring Matt in. I could see them. Well, I have the other hero page. David, I could see in that. Shaun, like I could see that being like a core alliance within this group. So I do think Sam's going to make it far. And I mentioned it earlier that there was a few people that I could see falling into that Ricard or Omar spot or a Josh from last season, someone who would have won if they made the finale. And I think Sam could be that person that he just makes it to the end. And then they notice, hey, we got to get him out or he's going to win. A lot of times a clear-cut favorite does not end up winning the game because it's just that hard to make it to the end. So I think Sam is going to fall victim to that. But here we go. We're on to our last person, David Zaharakis.
Hold up, before we get to the last person, let's go back to season 42 winner, Marianne. Now, when Marianne, before they started Tribal, we had Marianne, we had who's the final three? Marianne, Hoboken.
Mike
What's my man?
Turner.
Mike from Hoboken. Mike. Who's
And
the person? I forgot who's the third person for 42. Mike, Marianne.
Mike.
There's three of us in camera.
This is killing me.
It wasn't.
Hold on.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Xander.
It wasn't Lindsay. It wasn't
Romeo.
Romeo.
Yeah.
We pretty much had Mike as the winner until Marianne gave her speech, and I think it's going to come down to a similar event with Nina. I don't think Nina is going to be painted as the one that's going to win, but I think when she gives her speech, that's going to be how she wins, because that's how Marianne won, and she was the only person that still had an immunity idol at the end that didn't have to use it. But I think everybody was leaning towards Mike until Marianne gave that speech. So I think it's going to be the same thing.
Apologies to Romeo. Yeah.
Romeo's a good guy, man. Every time I meet Romeo, man, he's a good guy.
Great.
So let's get to David here, 32 years old, former AFL player. So with a clear advantage in the physical challenges, ex-AFL player, David is a sporting hero to many, but also knows not everyone will agree with that term. I have high hopes for David, and I have him, Tegwyth, I know you have him making merge as well. Mm-hmm. I have him making the merge and making 10th. I think he plays a solid game. He's going to be good at challenges. I don't think he's going to be as great as everyone is anticipating, but I do think he could win a few challenges here and there. So, rounding it out, I have David in 10th. I think he'll do a great job this season.
I have him in 9th. Same exact reasoning.
Abraham?
I'm getting Croc vibes.
Oh,
Croc vibes.
And I'm like, Croc, he was my man. He was my
He was. You loved Croc, yeah.
And he got destroyed. Those physical challenges was dragging him. And it's like, where did Mark get all this strength from? And I said, Mark and Croc going to be the juggernauts of the challenges. And Croc got destroyed. And his only family member helped vote him out. So I was like, I wouldn't talk to you for a couple of months, but we still family, still love you, but I'm going to give you a timeout for a couple of months. I just get those Croc vibes where he's coming in with a big title, ex-football player. I just think it's going to come down to, can he perform and maintain at that level to play the game of Survivor? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say he's going to be out before pre-merge. He's going to be out before pre-merge. I think that he's just not going to have it in him to sustain the entire game of Survivor. And like you said, Tegwyth, if you prove me wrong, great. I want everybody to go out there. I want everybody to have a great time, enjoy this experience, especially for the people that are coming back to play again, and just enjoy it. But I want to see somebody. I want to see people play. I don't want to see anybody come out there and be like, I give up, or I can't make it because this is too hard, because you had an opportunity that you took from someone else.
Well, I mean, we just went through 24. It's a long episode. It's going to be the longest of the season, but we went through 24 castaways who are about to compete in Samoa technically already have, but you get what I'm saying. Survivor Australia, heroes versus villains. Tegwyth, what's your big prediction about this season, or what's your outlook going into before viewing this season? Do you think it's going to be a really great season? How are you looking at it?
I really do. I think Australian Survivor always is really fun to watch. You know, there are a lot more episodes. There's a lot more time shown, and they don't shy away from wild things. And I think, I'm super excited to see what the production team has in store for us. And I'm really excited to see what these amazing players are going to do for us. And I do think it's going to be a really fun, really interesting, kind of chaotic and amazing season. I'm so here for heroes versus villains.
Abraham, what about you, man?
I think it's going to be a wild ride from the start. I was so captivated by what their challenges were in Blood versus Water and how they play the game of Survivor. It's a different approach to how we play the game of Survivor, but ultimately you come down there with outwit, outplay, outlast. And I think one of the most interesting when that first season that we covered, everybody that knew they were being voted out, they just started packing up. They were packing up. It's like, I'm out of here. But I'm looking forward to say, okay, this next iteration of Survivor, and there's no break for us. We get a chance to continue to watch Survivor. So this is going to be great. The season airs January 30th.
3 weeks from Monday. So we get another little break here. So we start our coverage today with our cast assessment, get another little break, and then we will pick up January, probably not 30th. That's when it premieres, but we will pick up very around that date. And it'll be a long coverage of the season because there's so much to cover. I think the season's going to be filled with drama, which I feel like the new era of Survivor has kind of lacked a little bit. I do think you need a villain in Survivor, and we haven't had one in a while. And I know we're already saying these people are villains, but I do think a couple people are going to stand out as clear villains that you can root against. And I feel like you need that in a season. While you do have your heroes that you're like, man, come on, just make it to the end. I think there's going to be highs and lows to the season, but I can't wait. And I miss the themes. I wish Survivor US would bring the themes back. I really do. And I love this theme of heroes versus villains and the aspect of the returning players are kind of put based off how they played in the game, while the new players are, they are separated based off how they see themselves. I think it's going to be an amazing dynamic with that aspect, as well as the fact that there is returning players and newbies. So I think it's going to be super entertaining. Just a few housekeeping stuff to get out of the way before we end the show. First off, thank you guys for watching. And I am so happy we have Tegwyth here. Tegwyth, I am so happy that we're going to have you're going to cover the season with us. I can't wait. You did great today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Y'all are awesome. And, I'm obsessed with Survivor. So any chance I can get to talk about it, I'm going to take it.
this is going to be I promise the shows are not usually this long, but
doesn't bother me.
It was so fun. You guys can pick up for a few more days. You can go online, go to our Instagram. The link is there where you can pick up Survivor Now apparel. The latest batch is in. If you want to get your Survivor Now Heroes versus Villains shirt just in time for the season, if you order it by January 9th, which is my birthday next Monday, then you guys will get it in time for the premiere. It should arrive January 30th if the website is telling the truth. So go pick up Survivor Now merch. Really appreciate it. Helps us. You guys rep the show, and it helps us get the name out there as well. Also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video if you enjoyed the time you had with us today. Again, let us know in the comments, who's your winner pick? Say it right now. You can't take it back. And who are you rooting on this season as well? What are your bold predictions? And subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, and we really do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a rating on Spotify if you guys are listening there. Follow the podcast there as well. But other than that, I cannot wait to start this season. It's going to be amazing. Tegwyth, where can people catch you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm just at Tegwyth. Lovely thing about a weird name is my handles are typically easy.
So easy.
I'm also on TikTok. That's probably the main thing I use. So at Survivor_simulation. Feel free to follow me there. I post way too much there. So please, I would love to hang out with you, talk about Survivor.
Yeah, Abraham, where can they catch you, man?
I'm usually on IG. You can get to me at Abraham_99_99. That's where I do most of my conversation.
And you can catch the podcast on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast, or you can hit me up at I'm Randy Bruce. And we've got a lot of coverage coming for you guys. Survivor US season 44? Yeah, 44 already. Starts March 1st. It's going to be kind of starting right when Australia is kind of wrapping up. So that's going to be, it's always our busiest time of year. We have a new show for you guys called Survivor Social coming on. I've got two of my good friends, Zianya and David. They are basically going to come on and talk about the social aspects of the game and some of the stuff that casual fans don't see while watching the episodes. They're going to do super deep dives into the underlying social issues and also just be other perspectives for you guys. If you don't connect with any of us here, you might connect with them over there. So it's just another show as we continue to try to broaden the Survivor Now network as well. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and 3 weeks from Monday, Survivor Australia, heroes versus villains.